It's nice having like show the bed.
Yeah.
It's got like such open it goes into a bed. Yeah, you could do nothing. Three-legged battery. Oh, sorry, two-legged battery.
I think we're going.
All right then. Are we ready, clocks? So what, is this just recording all the time?
Streaming live on
Just streaming?
the social medias that's going out on.
Right now?
Yeah.
What you got to say, man?
Oh, fluffy bits off.
Fluffy bits come off. Right. So, gotta get in shot, are we?
Right. Right.
So we should be streaming live on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. I mean, it may not be working. It's definitely recorded, but it may not be working. So if you're watching, hello, welcome to the At Ease Festival. I'm Stu Mendelson, former Royal Engineer, and
I'm Steve Black, former 2nd Royal Tank Regiment.
and behind the camera is,
Sleet Sheet, X1RRF.
there you go. So
The legend.
The legend.
That is. So we're going to head into the At Ease Festival, into the main arena, and we're going to go see a talk by guest speaker
Johnny Ball?
Johnny Ball, not Zoe Ball's dad,
No,
apparently.
it's
Think of a number.
It's a guy that so
I think he lost a leg and
Lost a leg.
in Invictus Games.
done Invictus Games, so we're going to go hear his inspirational story. So what? Obviously, we had Steve was in the tent. No, I was in the tent last night. Steve was in the van. How did you sleep, Steve?
Why don't you stop farting? I could hear it. All right.
One thing we have noticed is all these lovely dogs. I mean, look at them, dogs everywhere.
Batman.
There's Batman. And they're so well behaved. And they are. Like, considering that there's cats roaming around and there's multiple dogs, they're all very...
Dogs look each other, got quite a lot of each other.
Yeah, they've just been chilling out, taking it easy. So, yeah, out of the camera. Hang on, let's quick go.
Make sure you can see this. Make sure
Through the tent.
No 9x9. No, these new 9x9s.
It's like MTV Cribs, isn't it?
MTV, so we're live on YouTube and that. So if you want to say, what we got? Let's keep the dumb to minimum today. And how's that working out for you?
Not too good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the dumb around.
Excellent. And this is where you sign into the event. You get your wristband, you can get a mug, you can hook it, not hook it up, you get a duck. There's a duck race tomorrow.
10 tomorrow.
Half 10.
Got a winner.
I think we're in everyone's way. It's cute, that.
So,
It's at 12, so. Oh, yeah.
Smile. Come, look.
So this is the At Ease Festival. Have a look around. We've got there's the Buster Point studio for today on tour. Who we got here? We've got 40 Deployment Charity. They're the designated sponsors for the At Ease Festival this year. Who else we got, Steve?
we've got Thank You Sell, got militarystore.com.co.uk. They do a lot of military themed clothing, merchandise. Officially licensed by the MOD, same as this bloke here. Exit Air Corps. Does 3D printed weapons. I don't know if you could call them weapons, but
You'll never guess what the best-selling 3D printed rifle is. It's
SLR. SLR.
so we say it's the most powerful weapon ever made.
It's good to see some faces back in front of the stage again after last night. There's a few missing. I don't know where they are.
Probably cut into it, mate.
Okay, welcome to day 2 of the At Ease Festival. The fellowship's already started. We've already had one walk out already. The second one's about to start. We also took one at 2 o'clock for those that haven't been. Fantastic opportunity to get out there, please do, in the woods, see what we can use for you guys. Well, I want to just make a quick announcement. Someone that's here, one of their children bought some mushrooms. That sounds a bit mental, but bought some mushrooms from the mushroom store. Cooking them up. And they left them and they've gone missing. This was last night. So if anyone knows anyone that's picked up a little plastic bag full of mushrooms, if you could, if you see them, please take them to bargain to one of the members of staff and make sure they return to them. Got a couple of girls there, a little bit sad, but I'm sure we'll sort that out. 1 o'clock, after the guest speaker, we've got a military quiz in here. So please hang around for that. It's
Not the chocolate quiz.
acknowledge that. You could win. But what I'm going to do now is introduce you to our guest speaker this year, Johnny Ball. He's an Invictus Games athlete and founder of the Afghan Veterans Community. So, without further ado, Johnny.
I did wonder while I was being patted down before coming on stage when I was searching for mushrooms. Make room for the mushroom. The pain was instantaneous. I was bleeding out and I needed help fast. I remember hitting the ground. The thud, the pain, the noise was visceral. The sweat was building up around me on that warm spring morning. It was filling up my helmet. I could literally smell fear as it built up. My leg and my arm were in the most excruciating pain imaginable. And as I was trying to attempt to get my breath back, I was also trying to assess what had happened. I was bleeding out, and what I was to later find out was the result of a knee glove injury. I had lost my entire ankle, and the bottom of my foot had fallen off. I had severed an artery. I was losing blood. I was alone. I was stuck. I was frightened. And being alone was to later be part of my own struggles with recovery from mental health. And I was scared. I've never been so scared in all my life. And this fear would return over several years as I battled with my own mental health. Now, where was I? West Belfast? Helmond? Places, names that all mean so much to people that I look at right now? No. I was 5 minutes from home, entangled in the mess of my beloved Harley Davidson. I was trapped. I'd suffered a motorcycle crash that had come from out of nowhere. My life changed in that moment. And I knew pretty early on that I would have to take responsibility for what was about to happen next. But I'd always wanted to be a soldier. And at 17, I was so proud to join my county regiment, the Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment. Any tigers here? Shout your ball, give us a roll. Following in the footsteps of both my paternal and maternal grandfathers, my father's father had actually fought at the Second Battle of Ypres. He was that old when he had my dad. Bit of an Irish rogue. And it was a journey that took me to West Belfast on my first operational tour. And I can tell you, in the first week, well, I did a little dance. And I can tell you, my first week in Belfast, I was bitten by a dog. Seeing all the wonderful dogs here today, I am a miniature Schnauzer owner, and so it's glorious seeing Schnauzers here. Well, I was bitten by a dog. I appeared on the Northern Ireland rep at the age of 18, so I was a casualty according to that, much to the jealousy of my muckers. And on patrol down the Anderson's Town Road, if you remember those chest webbing and the early versions of the SA-18, my magazine release catch hit my chest rig, and a magazine fell off on the Anderson's Town Road in front of a pub, and all of my ammunition spilled out at night on the pavement, much to the amusement of my my corporal, as you can imagine. And also in that first few moments, I've been called some pretty fruity things by some children. And at the age of 18, that was quite something to deal with. But my military career almost came to an end before it had started, as I had aspirations to go for a commission and unfortunately failed dramatically my medical at the regular commissions board. So I thought that was it. But then suddenly the world changed for us all, didn't it? On a clear day in New York, 9/11 happened. And for many of us from our generation, the fate of our operational deployments would change too. So I felt compelled and felt a responsibility for our generation, as friends of mine were being killed, friends I went to school with, friends were being injured. I felt compelled to serve again. So I went and knocked on the door of my local TA unit, which was the Intelligence Corps, declaring my medical history. And before you know it, you end up somewhere hot and sandy. The rules have changed. You could now serve with psoriasis. I'd already done a tour, but I could serve again. And I went off to the Defence School of Languages and spent 15 months learning to become a Pashto interpreter, one of only about 2,000 people in the world of non-native Pashto speakers. And if you learn that language, there's two places where you go. One is Ealing in West London, and the other one is Helmand Province. So I felt a strong sense that our generation had a responsibility, like previous generations that served before us. And in the post 9/11 era, 457 of our comrades paid the ultimate sacrifice for that collective responsibility. We'd lost friends. We'd started to see people's lives change through life-changing injuries too. But with that came advances in medical technology. Technology that ultimately mean that I can stand here today with my foot that's now made up of a thigh, but I can stand here today. And I owe an enormous debt of gratitude to the advantages that were forged on the battlefield of Helmand, and that have been translated into everyone being able to recover from life-changing injuries like I had on that day on my motorcycle. I stand here today, actually standing here today, with thanks to the Blue Light Services and the NHS just up the road at the University Hospital of Coventry and Warwickshire in Walsgrave, Coventry. And I stand here today with that, yes, but also with the magic and power of the human spirit. Now, I'm a believer in the human spirit. I've seen it. And today, if you can walk away from here with just a small percentage of that human spirit, then I would have done my job. Invictus would be part of that journey as I was to rediscover the power and magic of the human spirit. Prince Harry stood in Germany in 2023, and he told us in the opening ceremony, and also told the world, that whether you are about to participate or witness sport, you will see the magic of the human spirit from a group of people not bound by their journey, but freed by it. And those words rang true for me. And as we gather here now, in such a wonderful, beautiful, supportive community, and I have to say, walking through the tent, it's palpable. It really is. I can feel it. There are people right now at home, alone, whose fire, whose human spirit is all but an ember. perhaps you know someone right now who is alone, frightened, and scared. Let's think about that for a second. Because I believe that we have a collective responsibility. A responsibility to help ourselves, to ignite the human spirit within ourselves and that of others too. Because I know what it's like to be in that darkness. Darkness that others might be feeling right now who don't have this beautiful environment you've created here today. So my journey out of the darkness has been made so much easier because of the power of community. Communities that we're building here by the family and the armed forces too. Plus, we have to give credit to ourselves and our own personal responsibility to really grasp our recovery. Because I believe that the armed forces community in this country is distinctly advantaged from the rest of UK society. We have access to amazing things like Invictus if things go wrong. And also OpCourage, which is a mental health support that I've accessed, delivered in partnership with the NHS, third sector and government, that not only changes lives, but saves lives too. Our civilian friends don't have access to such wonderful things. But something we can all do, veteran, spouse, cadet, serving, civilian alike, is take personal responsibility for ourselves and our recovery if things go wrong. And that is by accessing the help from our loved ones, from our community, and from whatever we can get access to. Because the result is this. As Harry said, you end up not bound by your journey, but instead set free. And that is exactly how I feel. So I am completely honoured to be able to wear this t-shirt with the Invictus logo on it. I'm part of the Invictus community. But I'm also part of your community here too. I'm sure if I got around the room and spoke to people, they'll be, do you know? I've already had that today, just now with Tim, who mentioned a mutual contact of ours. But belonging to part of this community comes also with a sense of responsibility. A sense of responsibility to each other and a sense of responsibility to the community we belong. And this year of all years, as we commemorate VE and VJ 80, we get a sense of one community fading out, but another one rising. And this is what I've learned at Invictus, is that the responsibility to hold our narrative and our community is all part of being a veteran. And that day, and through Invictus, I had a couple of choices to make as I approached my recovery. Choice one, I become a victim. Or choice two, I feel valued. Now, the people I met across 21 nations and 550 athletes and their families who have all served, I can tell you now that the majority of those people, to every man, woman, family member, and teammate, they feel valued. And that is the magic of the human spirit and what Invictus has brought to us as a global veterans community. And during my recovery, I had three other choices to make. Now, the first one, as part of this personal responsibility to my recovery, was to forgive. Now, as far as I know, the woman that hit me that day on that sunny spring morning, she wasn't trying to kill me. Or she wasn't trying to remove my leg from my body. Indeed, she probably had a pretty rough day herself that day, and maybe even experiencing the effects of that trauma from hitting another human being. And I knew that I needed all the energy within me to use on my recovery, and it would be wasted on vengefulness or hatefulness or negativity towards that lady who really didn't try to kill me that day. Secondary, the second choice I made was to accept help. I knew that by accepting help, I would take responsibility for my recovery and that my own outcome would be far greater than what was presented to me that day. And indeed, I've been inspired by the stories of others, people like Mark Ormrod, who I'm now privileged to have met a few times, and understanding how they'd accepted help. And little did I know that the book Battle Scars by Jason Foxy Fox, what I'd read on a commute, would be so seminal in my own relationship with my recovery from a mental health injury. So I knew if they could accept help, I could too. And the third one was to choose a different outcome. When you do receive life-changing injuries, and I've had 7 surgeries to save my leg, you are told there are so many things you can't do. Yeah, you can't walk your dog. You can't go running anymore. You can't snowboard. You can't play rugby. Well, all of those things I've been able to do. And in fact, I ran 7.5 miles in one go last week. Probably I hadn't run that far before I actually had my injury, if I'm honest. And I'm back walking my dog on a daily basis. And indeed, through the power of recovery sports, I'm now a member of the Armed Forces Para Snowsport team. And the other choice with that, of choosing a different outcome, is that you could have chosen that victim route and being part of this mad, bad or sad narrative. And it's not something I was willing to do. And I wanted to choose my own story, my own outcome. And part of that, and it all comes back to that personal responsibility. No, I couldn't change the fact that I'd had the injury and the incident and that lady had hit me, but I could choose how I responded to that going forward. And for me, that destination was the Games, the Invictus Games. And that was all part of that acceptance of help and what's available to us as veterans. And the events I did were indoor rowing. Now, I used to call that thing the vomit comet, the indoor rower. I'm sure you've all had the joy, some of you that have been in the gym enjoy that. I'm now absolutely besotted with that sport. And I was captain of the indoor rowing team at Invictus 2023. I also did powerlifting. And the other event I did was cycling. Now, for me, this was my Invictus, because the thought of going back on 2 wheels, albeit self-propelled, completely scared the living shit out of me. But what Invictus has given me is the ability to get back on 2 wheels, and now I cycle with my little girl to school. That is what Invictus has given me. And in fact, it's given me back. And moreover, it gave me something else. It gave me this medal. Now, on medals. I'm sure many of you have got medals. And that great man, Winston Churchill, said of medals that medals glitter. He said this in Parliament, I believe. Medals glitter, but they also cast a shadow. And what did he mean by this? Now, I believe that this means that no matter what medal you carry, you have a responsibility to uphold the values and everything behind that medal. Otherwise, indeed, it can cast a shadow. Now, this can mean also service. Service, serving your country, wearing a uniform, is another form of medal. Because service is shining. We all have a responsibility, whether as veterans, whether you're wearing your T-shirts. I wholeheartedly support this campaign of Armed Forces T-shirt Day. That's all part of not casting a shadow. That is your medal. So it's really, really important that we uphold the values of those before us. But so what? So what about all this journey to Invictus and this recovery and personal responsibility? Well, for me, it means I live my life as a thank you. Since then, since the Games, I continue to participate in recovery sport. I'm a member of the Armed Forces Para Snowsport team, and have competed in snowboarding events against able-bodied athletes tri-service. And then in 2024, came away as the Adaptive and Disabled Snowboarder Trophy Award for the inter-services. I've competed in the British Rowing Indoor Championships, and I've also cycled 100 miles post-injury on behalf of the Invictus Games Foundation, raising money to give back to help others on their recovery journey too. And on the 22nd of September, in support of my good friend Ben Gallagher from the Invictus Games, I'll be supporting his challenge where he will be rowing, hiking and rowing a distance of 118 kilometres from Scotland through to the Lake District and Wales. I'll be doing a virtual challenge of that, sat on my rowing machine, as well as running around the Leicestershire countryside in order to raise money for adaptive rowing so more disabled and adaptive people can participate in the magic of recovery sport. I live my life as a thank you. Thank you to the Armed Forces community and thank you to the NHS. And I work within the defence charity sector and have worked for the Officers Association, which always amuses me because I wasn't an officer, but telling officers what to do is what we do well as senior NCOs, isn't it? The Forces Employment Charity, and I'm very proud to see that the Forces Employment Charity is supported through this event. And if you haven't seen them, do go and speak to them. And also my current role at Mission Motorsport, where we deliver the Veterans Industry Engagement Programme on behalf of the Office for Veterans Affairs. And inspired by my generation and that calling from the post 9/11 era, I'm the founder of the Afghanistan Veterans Community, a co-founder of that with a serving officer, where we represent 150,000 veterans in this country. It is the largest working age population of veterans since the Second World War and the most diverse group of veterans that you could wish to meet. Our youngest veterans are 22 years of age from Operation Pitting and the withdrawal from Kabul. And we have 2 Chelsea pensioners too. We're very proud of those. And that is the way in which I can give back to my community. Now, this community is 150,000 strong, and we surveyed them in our approach. And we're going to launch this officially next week, hot off the press. And out of those that we surveyed, 92% of veterans from this era, so we surveyed 1,600 people, told us that they feared that they're going to be forgotten. Now, this year, we've just commemorated VJ80, the Forgotten Army. Are we in this nation about to forget our Afghan veterans? No chance. And our response is setting up the Afghan Veterans Community to ensure that we learn the lessons of the past and don't forget the lessons of today. So I began today by talking about that day, on that sunny day, where I felt entangled, in pain, frightened and alone. But I can reveal that I no longer feel entangled, frightened or alone, because I have you. We have the Armed Forces community. We have each other. And that, as Prince Harry said that day in that opening address, I'm not bound by my journey, but instead have been set free. And this is the power, the magic of the human spirit and the personal responsibility we can apply to ourselves, all of us, as members of the Armed Forces community as we go forward. And I'm reminded by the words of that famous poem, Invictus, which reads, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Thank you very much. Now, if you do have any questions, as long as I've told my wife the answers to the questions, I won't reveal, I believe there's like oversharing and there are boundaries, or authenticity. I think oversharing is authenticity without boundaries. So I have my boundaries. So I won't tell you anything I haven't told my wife. Well, maybe. So if you do have any questions, I'm willing to answer any questions. Feel free. Perhaps I'll come down as well rather than stand up here looking really grand. So have a think. There we go. Anyone got any questions? Yes. Saber skin. Oh, hi. Yeah, did we meet before? Don't see very familiar. No, I haven't. So, I used to ski and snowboard through the military. I learned skiing, and in my between the service years before I rejoined, my wilderness years, as my friend called them, I spent a lot of time in the French Alps. So I became pretty proficient snowboarder, and I was told I'd never be able to do it again. The nature of my foot injury made ski boots quite difficult, and I remember a friend of mine, Swifty, who was double amputee, walking me here, in Northern Ireland, inspirational guy, snowboarder. I'd seen the Armed Forces Para Snowsport team and what it had done for him in his journey, and all of a sudden, from knowing that, I became someone that needed help and a beneficiary myself. So I accessed the Armed Forces Para Snowsport team. It's a wonderful charity. But I remember turning up at Castleford at the massive fridge up there, indoor snow dome, and completely had zero confidence. I felt hollowed out from being a really proficient snowboarder and skier, literally being told I'd never do it again. I couldn't get in the boots. I'd had odd boots that I had to hire. But just put my trust. My instructor was a serving Royal Navy officer, and I just put my trust in him and in the charity, accepted that help, and put my ego at the door and said, look, treat me day one, week one. And after about an hour, he went, right, go on, bugger off, go up there to the top of the lift, you're all right. And from there, I've gone on to Invictus Services, been to Colorado for the camp out there, which is an amazing disability sports centre. And yeah, we just keep going now with snowboarding. So my message really is that there are so many glorious charities out there. The charity sector gets a bad rep by some. Some people are pretty vocal on LinkedIn. But with charities, including the Force Employment Charity, comes good governance. Okay, because you're dealing with people, sometimes they're pretty broken, sometimes they're not. And you need that governance in order to support those people. It's responsibility, again, I'll come back to that word. So our charities are the envy of other nations, and we compare ourselves to the Americans. When we brought the Americans to come out and have a look at us, our charities, the feedback about our charity sector is amazing. So everything you're doing here contributes to that and helps people like me get on a bike with their daughter and do the school run. That's what it actually means. That's the same. So yeah, I'm a massive advocate. But disability, snow sports and the rest of it, yeah, I'm passionate about it, definitely. No, I'd love to talk. Any other questions? Oh, God, I wish. So, when I had a bit of a triple whammy, when I had the incident, shortly after getting out of hospital, we, as they say, as the trendy way to say it, we fell pregnant. Which my friend said to me, we couldn't have been that injured, could you? Well, it's a good way. Call it survival technique, I don't know. So we fell pregnant, more accurately, my wife fell pregnant. That also coincided with lockdown. So I had a mental health injury where I went through 3 bouts of mental health therapy, and we were isolated from our families, and poor Lydia, carrying Margot, who's now 5. Out of respect for my wife and my child and everything I put her through, the answer is no. Would if I could? Yes. But that would involve not being married. I quite like being married, actually, because I don't have to look after myself as much. That said, massive advocate of the Armed Forces community, particularly in motorcycling. Ride to the wall. Who's been to that? Anyone? Bloody brilliant, isn't it? Martin Dickinson is an old pal of mine. That movement, community, again, just brings people together. It's phenomenal. So I would if I could, but I shouldn't, and I shan't. Mate, oh, thank you. That's come from a lady as well. Can I record that, please? Send some more. Is there any other questions about motorcycles or? That's a really good question. Would I encourage my child to go into the forces? Now, I've had a bit of an unconventional route in and out of the armed forces. I've got 2 army numbers on my medals. Yes, would Margot go into the armed forces? Now, the fact that I've hesitated is not great, is it? Now, I think we're on a journey with female experience in the armed forces, and I'm part of the Female Veterans Transformation Program. Did you know there's been 60 pieces of research done for females' experience in the armed forces? And the BRAC Association are leading on a wonderful delivery piece of work to enable us in the third sector and in society, in government, the MOD, to do better by our women veterans. And I've helped write a memoir as a guide for allies, male allies, because not all blokes, and I'm looking at us blokes, not everyone. I grew up with really strong female role models. My sister died at 45, but she was such a huge role model. My mum, powerful female figure, certainly my wife. But that comes with empathy by growing up with strong female role models. Imagine a bloke that's never had that then gets in a position of leadership, be that in the third sector or the military. We need to help them, empathise. So the so what of that is, would my little girl then go and serve? I think service comes in many shapes and forms. So if you served in uniform, I'd be very proud of her and I'd support her. So yes, I would. And I'd be very proud. And I think we all need to change as service changes. And that includes making sure, no matter what background you're from, particularly different socioeconomic backgrounds, that you're encouraged to serve. And yes, we look backwards as the Afghan veteran cohort, but we're a younger cohort. We need to look forward to, and not just forever sit on our sandbags, but actually help the next generation and inspire them to serve as well. Because World War I generation, young people were probably told that they were, no good. Our generation were called the PlayStation generation. And look what they did during the war fighting of Iraq and Afghanistan. And now we're saying, well, young people are useless, which I don't. I believe in you. I believe in young people. I think you're mega. You are the future. We need to get behind you, and you can serve too. Any other questions? One last pitch, and that is for Invictus 2027. I'm one of the ambassadors for Invictus 2027. In fact, every time I mention Invictus, my mates are like, "Did you do Invictus Games, mate? You don't talk about it." It's coming home. It's coming home. It is. So it's coming to Birmingham 2027. Now, this is a real opportunity for all of us to be part of the Invictus Games. One of the criticisms, I guess, which is fair enough, is that it often feels a bit distant because it's geographically distant. The impact is on the individual, the family, their employer, and their kind of ecosystem around them. This is a real opportunity for this impact, this magic that Prince Harry speaks of, to have an impact here in the UK on the local economy. Crikey, we need it, don't we? But culturally, on what we believe about ourselves as a nation. And Invictus is a great way in which we can really talk up our nation rather than talking it down. So do get involved. Loads of opportunities to volunteer or just go and see it, because what I've spoken about today is a result. I would probably be dead. I would if it wasn't for everything that this has given me through Invictus. And go and witness it for yourself. It's beautiful. Birmingham 2027. Let's get behind it. Thank you.
How about that, everybody? Keep that applause going, Johnny Ball. Thank you very much indeed. He's hanging around. Go and chat to him. Feel free. Thanks so much. So we do have a military quiz going on at 1 o'clock. If you do want to be involved, it will be in here. So hang around. We're going to give a few more instructions about that shortly. But yeah, thank you very much. And again, Johnny, thanks so much.
I was into way then.
Then go, mate. I hope to go to this. Yeah.
I was going to go. I thought about speaking to him. I'm a little. Don't get me wrong, Invictus Games. Obviously, supported him throughout. However, I've had horror stories and experienced horror stories on the Invictus Games because I applied. I was training. I was doing athletics. Bedford at the Rugby Stadium. I went down to Birmingham University, saw Prince Harry and Meghan, and done the trials. And I understand that there's only a certain amount of places, and I think I got the quickest time at 400 metres. And after the trials, you go to this big auditorium at the university. We were given this massive speech about even if you don't get through with just the comfort, team would support you, but we're always there. So, then basically, I didn't make the team, which was fair enough. I got some generic email saying we suggest you join a running club and train harder. Because I have been a fucking idiot, and I reached out to them for support. So I was in a bad way mentally, and I just didn't hear from them. Like, it was like nothing, and obviously that leaves a bit of taste.
But then, hopefully, you didn't put in it. It was the one. But a lot of the charities were really good and really bad.
Yeah.
Charity after from Health Heroes, they've got very mixed opinion to them. Other do great work, but then other people say lots of good things.
Well, I guess that's
It's
the
good for me.
that's the thing, isn't it? And I think that's what we're going to try and avoid in that, isn't it? 'Cause it's a postcode lottery. Like, why should two different people get a different experience from the same organisation? It should be the same. You know what I mean? And that's what we need to eradicate with it.
After that, he spoke about courage. Quite experienced with courage. Wasn't great. So the system, the therapist I had, he worked back. But for me, if anyone served has got mental health, they should go OpCourage. And then all of the mental health charities, in my opinion, benefit charities, should be under them.
Yeah.
And it should be, they look at what charity, whatever, it's Health Heroes, combat stress, walking and wounded, Icarus. That's how I think. That's how I feel.
Manage.
Yeah. I know at the minute, Health Heroes, Hidden Wounds, they're struggling. I know combat stress is struggling, but there might be other charities that are not struggling this much. But share the load.
Yeah. But I mean, what an achievement. I mean, because, and to be fair, I stood there and I was thinking, I said, I hit injured in Afghan stories and he came off his motorbike. It just shows that, I think we said it before, like the muck is remembered, like, yeah, soldiers die at war, but a lot of us go on to live and then have
when you get to Afghanistan, everyone's a ball team.
Yeah.
You lose your leg on the side of the road. And that word,
That's the point, that is.
that word, de-glove as well.
Oh, yeah.
I know my industry, engineering, people lose fingers and when they're catching it, it's de-glove. Oh, it's horrible.
Agreed.
Fair play to you. I mean, have you heard of that Afghan Veterans Community? I think I've seen it pop up on Facebook, but have you heard about it? Maybe we need to look into it a bit more.
I don't know if there's an Iraq one. Yeah, there's an Iraq.
No,
I know there's a Gulf War.
is there? I've heard of that one.
Yeah, 1991 Gulf War Association, sorry, but I don't know if there's a Telic one. Again, that feels like it's something forgotten about. No, but yeah. Maybe it's good games now, they're not about American Afghanistan.
yeah, about alien nation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we're gonna so we have a break. Maybe come back a bit later. We'll do a tour of the campsite.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But yeah.
I've got a good question for Sleechy.
Go.
Yes. Come on, in front of the camera. Take that.
You show us your war cry.
Well, we're on cry.
Oh, silent.
Portsmouth.
Oh, 1,000 yards. Brilliant.
One thing I did think was good about what he said there, really good fact, was like hustler, I've probably bought you police station kids. Done the business, big time. So it's quite nice to hear that kids now will get that money. But I'll do the business.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give him a bad bit.
Doing really good.
Only because the generation before me give up. But you know what? The PlayStation generation, the Challenger 2 Gunners control is based on a PlayStation. It's like a big PlayStation controller.
Yeah. I thought that was it's a nice thing to hear.
Yeah.
That is, you can get sponsored, can't you? Oh, turn.
There we go.
Nice.
We're turning these off.
Yeah.
What's it? Press and hold it.
No, it's on the other side. You have to take it out.
Press and hold. Press and hold. The light goes out.